There is a difference between being humble and surrender. So you have to be humble, you have to be confident, but don't surrender. Sometimes you have to practice programming on plain text editor like Notepad++ or Notepad. One common question I generally ask to freshers is like, what do you have learned non-technically from this project? Talking in a comfortable environment is different and talking in an interview is different. For freshers job preparation, we are going to cover 7 unique points and 3 pro tips. So please keep watching till end. Cracking a job in service-based company involves evaluation on 3 pillars. So first one is aptitude, which involves quantitative aptitude, verbal ability, reasoning, email writing, and group discussion. The second pillar is technical skills, which involves technical subjects, CS fundamentals, programming, projects. And third pillar is professional skills, which involves confidence, speaking, resume, your leadership, and dressing sense. So companies like TCS, WIPRO, INFOSYS, HCL, Accenture will evaluate you on all of these 3 pillars. So one quick tip I want to share now is like, since we have 3 pillars and multiple topics inside all of these pillars, so don't get tensed. We need patience and right strategy to tackle them. So that we are going to discuss one by one for each topic in this video. But before we go there, we have our first pro tip now. And the tip is, before entering the interview room, you have to remind yourself that I have done my homework. Be it your project, your programming, your aptitude, you have to remind that, okay, I have done my homework and I am going to bring some genuine value to this organization through my skills. So you have to enter the interview room with that confidence. You need that confidence. Of course, you need to be humble, but there is a difference between being humble and surrender. So you have to be humble, you have to be confident, but don't surrender. Trust me, at any part of the interview process, if you are feeling anxiety, you have to repeatedly remind yourself this point, that I have done my homework, I have did my project, I have learned programming, I have done my aptitude. I am here to bring some genuine value with my skills to these organizations. And you have to repeat this multiple times. Your anxiety will go, you will rock, and you will thank me later for this tip. Coming back to our point, so we have seen 3 pillars and multiple topics inside these 3 pillars. So let's discuss now each topic one by one. There are multiple resources like previous question asked by this organization for aptitude round, or similar questions asked by these organizations in aptitude round. Geeks for Geeks is one famous resource. IndiaBix is also one of the famous resource. Testbook.com also is a good resource. Links of all these resources are in description. A very important point to note here is like, you have to practice easy to medium complexity problem for aptitude round. The hard complexity problem is often meant for railways or banks or UPSC. Service-based company will ask only easy to medium complexity problems. So you can refer to interview experiences, previous year question to determine like what level of complexity you have to practice for aptitude round. Many institutes provide a CRT training, which is campus recruitment training, online, offline, paid, free. Okay, so if you are not getting confidence like solving aptitude questions, you can give a try attending that. So apart from these 3 resources, if you want more resources for question banks of aptitude questions, so what you can do is like, you can just copy the text of any question and put it on Google. So Google will give you a list of multiple websites, okay, which is having that kind of question. So for example, this question from IndiaBix, like Alfred buys an old scooter, and the whole text of this question I have just copied and put it on the Google. So these are giving like multiple websites which is having this question. So if you visit these websites, you will get like very similar questions for multiple topics of aptitude. 3 to 4 months before your placement season, start your aptitude preparation, and I think that time is sufficient to perform well in aptitude round. Practice is the key here. So one important tip I always give, like sometimes you have to practice programming on plain text editor like Notepad++ or Notepad. What happens is like during our programming practice, like online or offline, we have very rich ID. So we have colors, we have indentation, we have autofilled, the whole syntax is like written, and only business logic we have to write. But during these kind of exam you may not get that much pitch ID. So practice sometimes in Notepad++ or Notepad for few questions. So trust me, if you do not have practice of writing from line 1, you may not be able to write the program at the time of interview process. Sometimes you have to practice few questions on plain editor. Along with this, you have to practice commonly asked question by these service-based companies, like reversing a string or determining a string is a palindrome or not. So service-based companies do not go very deep in data structures and algorithms. So you have to see like of what complexity you have to practice programming. So if you see the interview experiences, the previous year questions of like these service-based company, you will get like 30 to 50 question offset, which most of the times they repeat this question. So you have to be in practice for these questions. Also note a point that programming is not the skill that you will start learning during your placement season. This skill is going to take time. So you have to learn this skill way before your recruitment season starts. So not just programming, so all the like different topics under technical pillar, these all are time taking kind of skills. Basically everything under technical pillar should be completed before your placement season starts, and this time you have to only utilize for practicing or revising those skills. So time for our next pro tip, and this pro tip is specially for programming. In interview, suppose you are stuck on one programming question, so you can ask your interviewer like, is my thought process correct? Is my approach correct? So interviewer will provide you hint, and they will not take this in negative way at all, and sometimes they want you to ask question because they want to test that if I provide a hint to you, are you able to follow it also or not? But don't overuse it, like one hint per question should be fine. Please subscribe if you like this tip. You should have good commands on CS fundamental subject like object-oriented programming, SQL, REST APIs, SDLC, 3-tier web architecture, one programming language, and subject like database management system, operating system, computer networks. So you can get like what kind of questions are being asked on these topics from interview experiences. Common questions on subjects like operating system, database management system, computer networks can also be found. So few common questions I ask related to these subjects is like, what is the port number of FTP? Or what are the different application level protocols you have used? What is OSI model? What is the use of semaphore? So all these topics or subject is part of technical pillars. So this has to be prepared before your placement season starts. So if you haven't done so, I have already created a separate video to like prepare yourself technically for service-based company in 6 months of time. Please watch out that video. So time for our third pro tip. So once your fundamentals are done, so you can focus on awareness of current trend and current terminology. So for example, like nowadays Gen AI, ML, AI, you may not have deep understanding of these subjects, so you can understand that benefits of it, like what are the different applications of these topics, these subjects in computer science. So you should have good command on 1 to 2 project. When I'm saying project, it's not theory, it's like actually having experience of implementing that project. So you should be able to answer the DB design, table relationship, different kind of users going to interact with that project. Okay, what is the business use case of that project? Okay, what are the different improvement area for that project? How you can scale it? How you can secure it? What are front-end technologies you have used? What are back-end technologies you have used? You will get a lot of such questions which is being asked related to project from interview experiences. So one common question I generally ask to freshers is like, what you have learned non-technically from this project? And the answer I want to hear is like, how as a team you have executed this project from start to finish. So recently I have created a video on resources for brilliant project ideas. So if you want some brilliant project ideas, please watch out that video. I have covered multiple times like in this video that interview experience is going to give you like the recent question these companies asked during their interview round, or what are the interview pattern they are following nowadays. You will get the visualization of the selection process, the complete selection process for these companies. You will get a lot of additional tips for all of the 3 pillars, right? Your aptitude, your technical, your professional skills through interview experiences. So questions like, describe me a situation where you have worked as a team, or where you see yourself in 5 years of time. So these kind of HR question needs preparation. So if you are technically sound, you can give answer to a technical question you may not have practiced so far. But for these kind of HR question, you cannot go unprepared. You cannot make answer on the fly. Please comment below if you want me to cover like how to answer these questions. Talking in a comfortable environment is different, and talking in an interview is different. Mock interviews will give you a reality check that what are the things you have to work on. I'm telling from my experience that I have seen people who are sound technically, who have cleared their aptitude round, but they are not able to present that, okay, because of anxiety, which leads in rejection. So mock interviews is going to help to determine that what are those blocking points where you are getting stuck. So TalkMate is one of the famous platform for conducting these kind of mock interviews. So you can conduct mock interviews like among yourself also. Like it may feel a little awkward because you know that person. So if somebody is unknown to you, like your senior or your MTech student can conduct this mock interview exercises, that will be very helpful. If somebody is already placed, they can conduct mock interviews for someone who is not placed. Nowadays, there are a lot of AI powered mock interviews. I haven't used it personally, but let me know in comments if you're able to find like a good AI mock interview tool. If you haven't found it, that will be a very good project idea to implement. Or at least what you can try is like you can read the question from interview experiences, different question banks, and try to answer it yourself. So at least you will able to identify that where you are getting stuck. Remember my point that you cannot answer simplest question if you don't practice well. At the end, I want to cover that organization for fresher doesn't have lot of expectation. They do not want that, okay, you should know 4 to 5 language, worked on like 5 to 6 project, or know everything about AI, ML, Gen AI stuff. So as a fresher, company will evaluate that, okay, have you done 1 to 2 good project? You know 1 to 2 good programming language. You have fundamentally strong concept of computer science, and you have eager to learn. So we are going to prepare next part of this video where we are going to talk about your resume. We are going to talk about your package. We are going to talk about like how to start your interview, with what mindset you should enter the room of interview. I have given one pro tip related to that, but we are going to cover some more things related to it. How to end the interview, or like how to answer if you don't know anything for a particular question. So those all things we are going to cover in next part of the video. Thank you.